All right, so let's get back into the SEC thing and how it's going to relate to Richard Hart. So the SEC taking a couple on the chin, XRP, now the grayscale thing. These judges seem to be seeing that a lot of the stuff that the SEC is deciding on is just kind of arbitrary. Where's their head at with anything? They don't really, I'm not as familiar, obviously, with the complaints that were filed from the SEC to these other two scenarios as I am the Richard Hart one. But if it was written, as infantile and kind of related to information that a whistleblower gave them that, is falsifying statements, then no wonder they lost. But so let's get to the facts. That is that the first hearing is on November the 28th with the SEC and Richard Hart. Now, this is going to be a phone meeting, 10 a.m. that day, phone conference for counsel. Everybody that's talking about like, oh yeah, I hope Richard Hart goes in there and does this, and I hope, well, there's nowhere to actually go in. It's on the phone. And I don't really think Richard Hart's going to be there. I think it would be his counsel that would be there, as well as the counsel for the SEC, who I believe we've already heard from in this statement. It's likely a chance for the judge, which there's actually two judges here. So there's and one of them is an old person. We know that, but she has basically ruled not so favorably in terms of crypto in the past. The other one is Magistrate Judge Peggy Kuo. She's actually going to be hearing this phone conference, so we'll see what she has to say. She'll be the main one hearing the phone conference. So, what this is going to be, I think, because of all of the claims coming from the SEC in this case that are just kind of thrown up against the wall, is a chance for the judge to have an understanding, like, all right, what are we dealing with here? Like, tell me what all this garbage is about. What are you guys alleging? Do you even, get a feel of what the evidence could bring out, and then get a feel for what Richard Hart's counsel will really be looking to do in response to this, to just kind of take the temperature of the whole thing. I don't know how much we're going to actually get out of this. I'm sure there will be fun stuff and news to talk about. I don't think this is like going to, we're going to get an answer definitively to anything long term here. But I think we're probably going to get some juicy information and kind of see at least the paths that both of these sides are taking. And I imagine that the SEC's part of it is embarrassing themselves yet again. But this is what I want to see. Do you think we do get some direction on where Richard Hart's side could be taking this? We already know where the SEC's at. Just throw a bunch of shit at the wall and sees what sticks, basically. Right. Do you think maybe we see the SEC bending a little bit? Could we hear anything about like settlement versus how long this could be, fought out? What do you think we're going to get from this November the 28th phone conference?
I think we'll get a really good temperature of what's going to happen. And I honestly wouldn't be surprised if Richard does show up. Maybe he doesn't say anything. Maybe he's not participating, but I could totally see him being present for the call or on the call. My thought at first was this is going to be an open call. They gave the number, they gave the passcode. I just wonder if it will be public enough to where the speakers may have a extra access code or something like that. A lot of times these conference call lines are like that, where they give the speakers a different code and the public can listen in. So I do know they're offering transcripts, and I would be willing to bet that the transcript will be one of the most requested ones so far that they have seen. Should be kind of interesting. But yeah, I think we'll get a good reading on the the temperature of what the judges are thinking, what are Hex's defense, Richard's defense strategy may look like, or maybe they don't reveal anything. Maybe they get the temperature and their reading and see where they want to take it from there. It could really play out either way, whether they come in there hot and heavy and say, this is what we're going for, or they sit back and let the plaintiffs kind of see where they're headed. With the original thing being so poorly written, I would almost hope that they kind of take a step back and see which way and which direction they're headed. and then play it from there. So yeah, it's going to be interesting. It's definitely going to be a good one to kind of look into to see which direction they go with it, I think.
I think most importantly, yeah, I really want to see what Richard's side is going to do because, again, we know the SEC's story. Like, we know that it's like, hey, we think this, we think that. We don't really know anything about it. This is just what somebody told us. And we don't have any, even though the burden is on us to prove it, we don't really have any way of doing that or anything. But this is what we're going to do. But yeah, I'm really interested to see, like, we'll probably kind of find out, like, how serious will Richard's side be about fighting this? You know, reading through his tweets, or, you know, regardless of whether he wrote them or if it's AI, and I'm not trying to crypto 7 you here or anything, Richard, but, you know, we just want to get an idea of where it is he's going. And that's what I think is going to be interesting. Like, how hard is he actually going after this thing? So, it's going to be interesting. I don't know. That's November the 28th, 10 a.m. So yeah, and yeah, to your thing about the transcript, yeah, I even said to you too, somehow, whether you're allowed to or not, I'm sure some hexagon will obtain a recording of this thing, you know, I'm sure somehow we'll actually get that information quickly after it. But that's what I want to see. I think we will definitively know after it, at the very least, what direction Richard is taking this. And I think that is going to be very interesting to see. Yeah, and I just want to see where we're headed. And then, of course, we'll get another date after that. These things traditionally, I heard some people speculating like, oh, wow, this is moving along really quickly. I mean, from the time the lawsuit was filed, July 31st is the actual filing, about 3 months to a court date. I mean, it is New York, but I mean, like that's relatively typical, I think, in most markets. So, yeah, I mean, we may not have anything until February, March after that. So I know nobody wants to have this long and drawn out, but this is the courts. There's no other style. They don't know any other way to play. So
maybe Trevon will record it and put it on his private YouTube or something like that.
That would be perfect. Exactly. Yeah. Which we're going to get to him in a moment too. Yeah. We need Trevon to record it. Yeah, I think that would be perfect actually. So,